Hey, 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 hey. I don't think you're wrong.
That's right, because Scotty muted me earlier today.
We'll have to hear more about that.
Uh,
Everybody, welcome to Ladies Talk. This is DJ Smiles.
Hello, everyone. It's
And the
the
doc.
doc, and we're missing Zach.
We are missing Zach. I mean, we are soloing it tonight, but
It's okay.
this is going to be a good show. We were cold, so we got our blankets.
Yeah, literally, when you talk about like hanging out with your best friend and curled up and just talking about girl stuff, that is really what we're doing right about now.
Literally, if you can't, I mean, if you want to, you can go to look and watch on YouTube. And you can kind of see that we're all wrapped up. Doc is literally wrapped up in her blanket. I'm just now kind of I'm just trying to get my feet warm. Man, whenever my feet are cold, my whole body is off. So I'm trying to get my feet cold.
Your feet warm. Your cold feet warm.
Yeah, my cold feet warm. You know what I'm saying? I really missed everybody last week.
I know that weather was just we had like 3 weeks of rain and then the thunderstorms. And I kept telling Scotty, I was like, well, we can still do our broadcast. All we got to do is just wear rubber boots and rubber gloves.
I know, right? Ducks don't give up when it's raining.
Ducks don't give up and they don't get struck by lightning.
I know, but we appreciate everybody for just being patient with us and joining us tonight because, we missed being here.
Yes.
But the sun is shining now.
Because Thursdays are like, that's our day to hang out together. That's our girl day.
Yeah, I've gotten to where I just take Thursdays off now. That's my day off. And I normally look forward to Thursdays off. Today was a really good day. At least it was not raining and we're here. We're doing ladies talk. So, and tonight's going to be really good. We've had a lot of people communicating with us about tonight's show. So I'm hoping everybody's getting tuned in and sharing it and telling their friends about it because we've talked about bullying.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about starting over.
Yeah, we talked about frenemies. We talked about living after loss and the different types of loss.
And this particular subject, whenever a listener actually suggested that we do this was several weeks ago. And ever since then, we've had a whole lot of people asking about it. And I'm like, this is something to me, I feel like a lot of parents feel like they're going through alone.
Yes.
I mean, every time I come across a parent who was in this situation of raising a special needs child, you listen to them and it's almost like you can just tell they don't feel like they have anybody who's going to understand. And even whenever they're talking to me, I feel like they're only telling me what they think I might understand.
Well, you feel so isolated. I mean, I remember because, both of my children are special needs. My daughter has a mental illness. She had schizoaffective disorder, which is that rare combination of bipolar and schizophrenia. And my son was diagnosed with Asperger's disorder and written expression language disorder. So it's like we've got mental illness, we've got learning disability, and we've got something on the autism spectrum all in one house.
Wow.
So, and I remember when I got the diagnosis, because both of my kids, I got the diagnosis for both kids around the same time. And I feel like I had been sucker punched in the gut. I guess that's the best way to describe.
I can't even imagine. I was reading your the post earlier that you had sent out, stating how, I mean, like most of us, whenever you hear you're pregnant, you plan on, we do all the research of what we're going to have to do to be a mom and, the usual, the I guess you would say normal stuff, but you don't research what it's going to take to be a special needs mother.
And I think that's, for me, honestly, Chris, that was trial by fire. With my daughter, it went from people just thinking that I was a very lackadaisical and, hippie, whatever the child wants
you a
to
hippie?
do. Yeah, I know me a hippie. Imagine that.
I know, right? I'm a little bit, but I could see that. I mean, you've kind of got that
kumbaya, that everything's woosah.
Yep.
Yeah, and it wasn't that at all. My daughter would have temper tantrums and meltdowns, and everybody thought that I just needed to put my foot down. I'm like, well, how do you put your foot down with a child who has a mental illness? That's like trying to step on a cobra. You don't.
No, you don't.
You just
I mean,
don't.
it's a really good question. How do you do it? I mean, and of course, I mean, I'm hoping that you're willing. I know you're going to be willing to share some of your answers or things you may do with people that I know is listening. But it's just like today. I know this is like really no comparison, but I was in the store with Zaylee.
Mm-hmm.
Zaylee is a what we consider normal kid. But I mean, she was just having her moment, I mean, she was like, how you can buckle them in. Well, she didn't want to be buckled in, so I unbuckle her. And I know everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, that's unsafe," but I was with her, and then she spent forever trying to buckle herself back up, and she was frustrated about that. And it was just from one thing to another, And I'm like, "Come on, Zaylee," but she was she don't know to be quiet. She don't know we're in a store, and whenever she gets upset, she's upset and she's loud. And I'm going, everybody's looking at you like, can you control your kid? What's wrong with her? What are you doing? Because I mean, I just always speak very calmly to Zaylee, and I'm like, Zaylee, I don't get on to her. I don't spank her in public. Like, I'm sure people, hey, she needs to whip her butt. No, I'm not going to do that. First of all, she's 18 months old too.
Right. So there's no, I mean, even if you spanked her at 18 months, she's not going to know what you're spanking her for.
No. But working in Kroger and seeing, in fact, I know I have a friend of mine, and she even said she was going to be listening, so she may be. But she comes in, she shops, and she has a son with autism. And he's very touchy, I guess is the word I want to use. I mean, he's very sensitive. He's, and he doesn't, he just doesn't understand like other people do, obviously. I don't know how autism works, but anyway, it's not necessarily her that I see this happen with, but I see other kids come in. So I've gotten to where I can kind of relate to like, most likely that kid has autism or something of that nature. And you can tell by their actions, and you see all these other people in the store who may not be familiar with it. And I don't know, the mothers of these kids, I'm just like, kudos to them, because she just keeps this calmness about her. She just keeps doing what she's doing, and she's obviously handling him, to the best of her ability, I guess. But I'm noticing in situations like that, if they try to do what we think they should do, like, hey, just get on to them. Take them to the bathroom, bust their butt or whatever. It don't work like that for these kids.
No, it doesn't.
And everybody, I have literally heard people in grocery stores say, is that lady going to make that kid shut up? Or something of that nature. And I'm not talking about my friend's kid. I'm just saying in nature, I've seen situations to where things like that are going on. And I just want to, it makes me so bad, want to speak up to them and say, you know what, you have no idea what they're going through.
Right.
So that right there is just one of the many things I feel like they're dealing with. And today, whenever I was dealing with Zaylee, knowing we was having this show tonight, I was like, you know what, that right there is, I don't know, it's one of those things.
Well, it kind of puts it in a whole different light for you and honestly, I never, I'd been a teacher. I've been a third grade teacher for about 3 years. And I will, and I always say that Niles, being his mom, was God's way of, I'm not going to say getting back, but, when I was a teacher, I used to always tell the principal, okay, I don't want any children who are really slow learners, because I have a pace that I want to go at, and I don't want to have to keep stopping and going back and repeating stuff. If I'm going to have a group, I want a group of all the same level. And I had a really great principal who worked with me, and she tried to accommodate me. And, and then I get blessed with Niles, who has never been on grade level from kindergarten. And the funny thing is, I had him at all of the best private schools. I had him at the best private preschool. And, we come down here, we moved to Rockdale County when he was 5. And I was just, and I'm looking at all of the milestones that he should be hitting, and we're not hitting them.
That'd be hard.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you have another child who is so far off the gifted spectrum that, in the second grade, she's testing at a sixth and seventh grade level.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, it was just,
Yours is just like almost the opposite,
mhm, it
complete opposite
really is.
situations. I mean, that's really ironic.
It really is, and I remember the first time I tried to go to a movie with Niall, and my daughter loved going to the movies. We get to the movies with Niles, and this was before I really understood about sensory overload issues and things that just they were very painful for him, and I didn't understand that. And I'm looking at all of these other kids. They were watching the Disney Cars, and I'm watching all of the other kids enjoying the movie, and I'm thinking, why can't my child just sit here and enjoy this movie like everybody else is doing? All of these kids are sitting here, they're into the movie, they're enjoying it. But what I didn't know was the movie theater, the noises were too loud.
Wow.
It was too dark. It was too loud. And Niles.
How long how long did it take you to realize that something was different?
Kindergarten, honestly, kindergarten.
Wow.
Well, because it's like they all, every time I would bring something up to the pediatrician, he would always say, "Well, boys develop differently than girls. Boys
Right.
develop differently than
Right.
girls." And I would say Niles was a runner, and he started running on his tiptoes. Well, I didn't know back then that children running on their tiptoes is it's one of the, some people say it's an indicator of autism, and I didn't know that.
Wow.
It was little things that he did that should have been red flags, but if you're not connecting all the dots, then you miss the big puzzle. And I think probably the most helpful thing to me, we have an organization here in Rockdale called Rockdale Autism Group, and they actually reached out to me after we finished our show on the Oprah Winfrey Network, and they invited us to an event that they were doing. And Crystal, at this point, I was just like, I didn't want to be around anybody because I didn't know how my children were going to act. I didn't know if my daughter was going to be one who flew over the cuckoo's nest and have a conniption on me. I didn't know if my son was just going to go into a complete meltdown. I didn't know. I just simply didn't know. And so they reached out to us, and they were having an event at the bowling alley. And I remember I went, and I just, and my son wouldn't interact with anybody either. That was the other thing. We would go places, and he would stand there, and he would just put his head down and bury himself into me. And I used to get so frustrated and so embarrassed. And I'm like, why can't you just run and play like the other kids? Just go play with the other kids.
Right.
And he wouldn't. And I think it was with the Rockdale Autism Group, that was when I finally began to, I guess, find my normal and realize that my abnormal wasn't as abnormal as I thought it was, and that I wasn't as alone as I thought that I was.
It gave you the it let you know that you wasn't alone, because I'm sure there was other parents there that had already gone through what you were going through.
Exactly.
And that's kind of what this show's about tonight, I feel like. At least I'm hoping. Because, I want to hope there's at least one person out there who has seen this post and said, hey, they're going to be talking about this. I'm going to tune in, see what they have to say. And they hear your story as of now. Mm-hmm. Because how old is Niles now? Niles
is now 11, going on 12. And Allie is 17, going on 18.
Wow. And Allie's she's doing really well.
Mm-hmm. She's a junior in college.
And I mean, you're doing really well as a mom. And, I don't want to say this show is about the parents or the moms or the dads, but kind of it is.
It is, because, here's what I've learned in all of this. The children have all sorts of resources. We can plug them into play therapy. We can plug them into occupational therapy. We can get them into this group. We can, but where are the groups for the parents?
Right.
Because if we are hanging out with our friends, chances are we can't talk about Well, we can, but most people just won't get it. And, and you get tired. You get tired of trying to explain things because everybody feels like they know what's best for your child. And, but they do so from a manner of their own, raising their own children.
They're blind.
Yeah, they're blind.
Well, they're what you are before you had to do it. And you already know that. You already know that stance, because even with your own kid, you just sat here and said you went to a theater, you just couldn't understand why he couldn't just be like the other kids.
Yes.
And so from a parent's perspective who has no idea, and we are totally blind to this, and we don't really have any idea. And it's kind of like whenever you see somebody going through something and they're going through it, and in your mind you're like, you know what, if I was you, this is what I would do. Really? You think that's what you do? Because really, you have no idea.
You don't know until you get there. I mean, it's like the first time that we did the movie on the lawn here, and, and I'm messaging Scotty back and forth because, Niles really wanted to see the movie on the lawn. And I was really, really worried that it was going to be loud, that, Scotty's like, there are going to be other kids here. And I'm thinking, okay, well, Niles is not going to talk to the other kids anyway.
And of course, Scotty not knowing.
Right.
Scotty not knowing that, there's any condition. And, Scotty's dyslexic, and Scotty's ADHD. And he grew up like that. So to Scotty, he doesn't, he understands. He does understand.
Yeah.
He does get it.
He gets it.
But he's just like, he'll be okay. Come on, just bring him.
Yeah. And, and I was glad that I did, because I debated back and forth. I'm like, do I bring him? Do I not bring him? Do I bring? And he kept saying, Mommy, I want to go watch the movie on the lake. I want to go watch the movie on the lake. So finally I brought him, and it turned out well,
And see, that right there says a lot. But I remember him that night. And to be honest, until until we spoke and got to know each other better, I would have never known there was anything wrong with Niles.
Right.
And I think that's something else too. I mean, people see these kids and they automatically assume that they're normal. And then I guess whenever they have a spell or something like that, that's whenever they're like,
What's wrong with
that kid?
Can't
that mama control her child?
Right. And I used to get that all the time. It was just, you need to take her in that bathroom, and you just need to wear her butt out. No, I don't.
No.
Because you don't know what's going on. And, even with my daughter, I knew that it was something deeper. But just and there's so many, like, I've got so many friends on Facebook who have children with special needs, and just watching the way that, they have to care for them. Like one of my very dear friends, she's a blogger. She does confessions of an Asperger's mom. Her name is Karen. And right now she's going through getting her oldest son into a residential placement facility.
And see, that's a huge part of this topic I would like to hear more about, because I know people who have children who are at an adult age or near an adult age.
Mm-hmm.
What happens then? What happens then? And what's going through these parents' mind? They're not going to be here forever. That's life. Then what? So, I mean, that right there, there's a lot of questions whenever you start thinking about this as an entirety. But I know that this first few minutes has gone by really, really quick.
It goes by quick.
It has gone by quick. And I was kind of concerned because it's just the two of us, but we always talk great together.
I know.
So I don't know why. It's not that I was worried, but I'm like, uh-oh. I hope we don't bore the listeners. So I hope everybody's enjoying this show so far. Everybody stay tuned. We're going to take a break and pay some bills.
Yes.
And
we'll be back.
Feel free to get ready to call in. And
what's the call-in number?
I did share it on Facebook, but I know everybody's not doing that. 678-760-1556 is the call-in number. And we would love to hear your stories and just give us your feedback and enlighten and strengthen each other. That's what we're doing tonight. Okay.
Yeah, just call in, share your story.
All right.
Please.
We'll be right back. Why do I feel like I sound like Delilah?
Who's Delilah?
I don't know, like B98.5. Oop, I didn't mean to do that. Wow. And a lot of people think that it's a challenge to have one child, and here you are, and you've been a single mom for a good part of this, haven't you?
I've been, well, Crystal, even when I was married to Tony, I was a single mom because the police department, whatever they needed, it was going to come first. And the only people that I really had that I could count on were my parents. And I had a neighbor, Joan Wood, and I had my best friend Sarah, who was also another policewoman. And so I had a support system, but it wasn't as strong as it could have been.
Yeah.
Had,
It's like a mom and dad.
right.
Wow. I mean, a mom and dad combo, like you have a husband there to help you with all of it.
Right. Like now I have Benny, and she's a phenomenal resource.
Yeah.
And I look at how Scotty is with Zay, and sometimes I get jealous because I'm like, if I could have just had a man be half that
Oh,
way.
shit. I wish I'd have had Scotty all my, years ago. I mean,
Yeah.
and Scotty wishes he'd have been this way to Emmy years ago. I mean, look.
Like we're all wishing for something different.
Yeah, I mean, just because, but then again, when things have turned out the way they are,
Well, I don't think I would be as grateful for
No.
Benny as I am now.
That's true.
Because every day I'm like,
What was that?
Crystal.
I didn't hear anything. Oh, Bella's over there.
Wonderful baby.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
What'd you hear?
Okay. Okay.
Don't do it. Do not do it. Don't get me all freaked out. We'll shut this show down.
We will both be sitting up there on the sofa. Scotty will come home and be like, we just wanted to broadcast from the sofa tonight. Don't leave me by myself. Well, where's the cord pluggy thing? Okay. I'm like, what? I wouldn't go by myself. I got a purpose.
Because I don't want to take the chance to hurt. That is even funny.
And y'all thought I was going to come over here one night by myself. Shit. I lost your mind. Not the kids.
Maybe like whenever we went out there and stuff,
Uh-huh.
we were staying here by ourselves.
Y'all done lost your mind. Isn't that right, Bella? They done lost their mind, hadn't they? Yeah. Talking about wanting people to stay here by themselves. I know. Anybody watching YouTube right now is probably cracking up at us.
Yeah. I love this commercial. Like one of my favorites. Miranda says, I love you ladies being a special needs caretaker.
And that is so true. Karen's listening. Karen? I got to talk to Karen today. Benny and I are doing our life insurance policies through this, and we're going to actually do a separate estate planning for Niles. Yeah. Angie says she's cracking up watching us on YouTube. Thanks, Angie. It was just a little spookiness going on over here.
All right, we are back. I think it's just me and the doc. We were wondering for a minute. Oh, yeah. I'm just saying. So if you're watching the YouTube channel, then
you're probably cracking up.
Are cracking up right now. But if not, you should be.
Yeah, that's right. Just imagine like that scary movie where the women are alone in the house. And, because Crystal thought that she was going to go upstairs and leave me down here. I'm like, you ain't leave me down here. I'm going with you.
Well, anyway, we're back. And if there's anybody trying to come in, just know we're live on the radio and there's millions of people listening to us. So we have witnesses.
And we've got weapons.
We do have weapons.
That's right.
Yep. And I know how to use it.
Okay, good girl.
Okay.
I'm like, I don't.
Oh, anyway.
So before we went on break, I know that some people are probably going to be calling in a little later. But we were talking about, parenting a special needs child. And there was actually a post on our Facebook. Someone posted about being a caregiver, a special needs caregiver was, I can't remember the exact wording.
Miranda was saying that, she was saying that she loves us and we love you too for listening. But she's saying that being a special needs caretaker is a silent struggle. And that it can be so very rewarding. And she was just saying, thanks for bringing light to this.
And it really is. I remember my daughter attempted suicide 4 times in a 3-year period.
Wow.
And the very first time that she attempted suicide, I ended up taking her to the hospital here in Rockdale. And not realizing that they weren't equipped for adolescent mental health crises, because I'd never done this before.
Wow.
And we got there about 1:00 in the afternoon. And we were there until about 2:00 in the morning. And when I knew that she was stable, and since I brought her in, my thought was she didn't come in an ambulance. She didn't come in a patrol car. I could just sign her out and take her to the hospital, because I had already found a bed for her at one of the mental health facilities. And they were like, you need to be here by 11 if you want us to admit her. And I kept telling Rockdale this, and, they weren't, it was like nothing was moving. So I get ready to try to take her out of the hospital, and they called security on me. They threatened to have me arrested by the sheriff's department. And
wow.
It was pretty bad, Crystal. And they didn't even take her to the hospital that I wanted them to take her to. They ended up taking her to Peachford. And this was at the time when Peachford had, they had a lot of lawsuits against them, a lot. And I was like, oh my gosh. And they wouldn't even let me go with her or anything. You know, we're talking about a 14-year-old child at this point.
So they basically just took control of your child.
Yes.
I mean, wow.
They took control of my child.
Not like you're not already going through enough.
Yeah.
I mean, here you are, you're dealing with the fact that your daughter's tried to take her own life. She's 14 years old. You know her needs at this point, you know, at this moment. They don't know her needs.
Right.
Were they even listening to you at that point?
No, they weren't listening to me.
Oh my gosh. I mean,
they weren't listening to me. And, you know, and I'm telling them, I'm like, you know, she's stable. And this was something with my daughter that we went through. It was almost on a clockwork cycle.
Wow.
You know, but the only difference is this time when she did it, she was actually texting with one of my friends who happens to be a child psychologist. And my friend was like, I need you to get up to the school and get her right now because she's making out a suicide plan. And I'm thinking, of all the people that you could be texting, why? Why would you text the child psychologist? Why? Of all the friends.
No. Well, was she supportive?
I mean, yeah, she was totally supportive. But, you know, she has a dude, I forget the word. I think it's like a diligence, a duty, or due diligence.
Yes. Yep.
So she had to respond and she had to report. And, you know, when you have to respond and report, that kicks it in a whole nother category. And, you know, so I was so overwhelmed, and I was by myself. And this was before this was the first time she did it. So she goes to Peachford, and the Peachford wasn't even going to let me talk to her. And I remember telling the nurse, it was like 4 a.m. When she finally got there, and I said, you know, please let me talk to my daughter. They transported her from Rockdale. They threatened to arrest me. And, you know, I mean, Crystal, I'm not one that goes somewhere. I don't act up. I don't act out.
Oh, I know. I mean, I'm going to say I know. But then again, whenever it comes to your kids, I know you can get to a certain point sometimes to where
you don't hear things.
Yeah.
And all I wanted to do was just leave and get her some, because I mean, literally, she's laying in the emergency room.
You had her best interest at heart.
Right. I had her best interest at heart. And, you know, I'm a former police officer. I knew that I could transport her. I transported mentally ill people before. And, you know, it was just the way that we were treated. And I never will forget, I looked at the nurse that was not even the nurse. She was like the intake coordinator or something. I remember looking at her that night in Rockdale. And I said, you know what? I said, I'm not going to do this right now in front of my daughter, but I'm coming back for you.
I know that feeling.
Yeah. It's like,
I do know that
I'm
feeling.
not going to do this right now, but I'm coming back for you. And, you know, so when she got to Peachford, the nurse was like, well, you know, you'll have to call back on visiting hours and this next Tuesday. And this was on a Thursday. So they're telling me from a Thursday to a Tuesday.
I mean, it's like in situations like that, do they not have any time frame at all? I mean, do you not realize what I'm going through as a parent?
Right.
We have a caller. Hello, you've reached Ladies Talk on Just for Fun Radio. You're live. Hello.
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 How you doing?
Great.
Thanks for calling in. I hope you're listening.
I am.
Who do we have on the line with us?
Mary.
Hi, Mary.
So the doc has really been, I mean, I've known Doc for a while now, and I'm feeling kind of bad, like I'm a little bit of a bad friend, because I'm even finding out things that she goes through that I didn't even know. So that makes me even happier that we're doing the show we're doing tonight, because I feel like people need to talk about this.
Yes, ma'am.
So, Mary, would you like to share a little bit about your story with us?
I have a 15-year-old son with autism.
Okay.
And he functions at probably a 6-year-old level.
Wow.
But he's very smart when it comes to music, and he loves music, which most children with autism does. Love music.
And see, I've heard that about autistic kids. Okay. I've never read a whole lot about it, but the little bit I do know, I've heard they're extremely intelligent, and I've heard that they really love music. And I don't know if it's autism, and I don't know the name of the movie, so forgive me if I'm way off track here. But I remember a long time ago watching a movie, and there was a kid. He would climb on top of his house, and he would build these structures out of cards, like playing cards. And I just remember I had to be very young when I watched this movie because that's about all I remember. But I do recall they were saying this kid had autism. So these kids are far from, they're not ignorant. They're not, I mean, there's not a lot of good words to choose because words can sound so harsh sometimes, but they're not what a lot of people who don't understand the sickness, they're not that, you know? I mean, people can be cruel. People can be cruel.
Right. Because they don't understand.
Right. Mary, for you as his mom, what was probably the most challenging thing that you had to go through? Was it trying to find the resources for him, or was it trying to find support for you?
I want to say it's equally hard. I mean, resources here around Newton and Rockdale, they're very scarce. So to get good doctors that know more about Cameron's disability, I have to travel up into Atlanta. Because the doctors here, even though we have good doctors, they're not, like, for instance, Cameron was having trouble with his heart. Going to a heart doctor here, they didn't understand the autism and how the word stuff to get into Cameron for Cameron to tell them what was going on.
Right.
So we had to go into Atlanta where they were more familiar, like Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. And they, of course, have doctors that have dealt with autism, and they knew exactly how to ask Cameron so that Cameron could respond and tell them what was going on.
And how old was Cameron before you realized, before he was diagnosed with autism?
He wasn't diagnosed as autistic until like the 3rd, 4th grade. He was diagnosed early at the age of 4 as PDD, which is NOS, which is like the beginning stages of autism. They're not sure if it's autism yet, so they put that on there.
Yeah, because I wonder, just because we may have some parents out there who are going through some things with their kids, but what are some of the signs that are a lot of times misread? You know, like, because for you to say that it took this long for them to officially come up and say, okay, he's officially autistic, did you go through, okay, my son was ADHD. And I remember there were some of the things that he did, they thought, you know, he could be autistic. And, you know, it just turns out that, you know, it is what it is. He had ADHD, but he was doing some things, I guess, I'm trying to look for the word. My mind has completely gone blank.
Autistic traits.
Yes, there you go. Some of the same traits. So, I mean, it's just what all you as parents have to go through with your children before you even finally figure out what it really is that's going on.
Well, Cameron, he started out developing completely normal. I mean, he was eating fine. He was saying his bye-bye, no, up until the age of 18 months. We went in to the doctor for his checkup. He had met all of his goals, but then by the time he was 2, he had lost what vocabulary that he was saying. He stopped eating, and I would notice Cameron, he didn't seem to connect the way he was. And I had worked with children at daycare, and I knew something just wasn't right, but I couldn't put my finger on it.
Mm-hmm.
And so at his 2-year-old checkup, I insisted that my pediatrician send me to a speech therapist to get him evaluated for him not, because he lost all of his work. He wasn't making sounds or anything, and he had been saying bye and no and mama and daddy, and all that just stopped.
Wow. And see, I never knew that. Now, I just assumed that, I don't know, I guess like the kids would reach a peak and then just kind of just shut down on you, and kind of share with you what they wanted to share with you. And if not, they just kept all their information to themselves. Because, again, you're talking to someone who's completely blind to it. I don't have a whole lot of information on it, so I'm just going on, what I assumed. But for you to say that, that's pretty enlightening to me because I never knew that.
Right. And, most children, with autism, they don't even speak at all. Cameron did have work, and he is verbal today. He has speech impairments where, I can understand him just fine, but you may have difficulty understanding what he's saying. But he can verbalize his needs and his wants. And I find myself very blessed because of that.
Yes.
But we have been in speech therapy, and we don't miss speech therapy unless it's him being really sick or the therapist sick, because you always pray that it's that session that it's going to click.
I'm sure, because if your kid goes from being able to say mommy and daddy and hey and bye and everything, and they just stop talking to you.
Yeah, it was hard.
Yeah. Yep. Well, kudos to you for all that you're doing. If there's anything out there that you could share with parents who have children younger than your son or who are new to this, what would you tell them?
It's never too early to seek questions. The earlier your child is diagnosed, the better off that he will be in the future as far as reaching goals and stuff, because he can get more help as a child than he can as he becomes older. As they get older, it's just harder to get through to them. They seem to be like little sponge, even with the special needs at those young ages. Cameron learned so much when he was 3 and 4 and 5. And he's still learning, but it's a struggle. It takes a lot longer versus when he was little, he would catch on half of the time that he does now. So get out. If you feel like there is something wrong, seek, and do not let the doctor tell you it's because boys develop at a slower rate. You're the parent, and you know that there's something wrong.
And I believe as parents, we all know our children. We know their behaviors better than any specialist out there. So, I'm glad that you said that, because as a parent, we should be able to, we will, not should be able to, you will know something's wrong with your kid. Something's different than it normally was, or a second nature. You just sense it.
Right.
Yeah.
And, all the things they told me that it possibly could be that Cameron had, I was like, no, it's not that, it's not that. But when they said the word autism, something in me, I was like, that's it. I felt it.
And you said your son is 15, is that correct?
He's 16.
Okay, so you may or may not have had, but a long time ago, you didn't have access to the computer right at your fingertips. Because see, like right now, if I question anything, I Google it all.
Right.
I'm Googling, I'm on Yahoo or whatever. I get on the internet and I start searching for stuff. But sometimes you just have to trust that instinct, and you just got to use your mothering instinct and say, you know what, I know my kid and something's going on here. And then work with your kids at home. The speech therapy, I'm sure, isn't just with the therapist. I'm sure you work hard with your kid at home as well.
Exactly. Those parents that get in and they make everything a learning experience, those kids end up being, I don't know how to say it other than being more successful. Learning does not stop at school. It has to come home. Even when you're bathing them, it's a constant teaching them over and over, because with most disabilities, and I know for sure with autism, it's just repeating over and over. And even with small children, I mean, that's how my little girl, learned, repetition.
Mm-hmm.
But with a child with special needs, that repetition, it may take a little longer, but if you're consistent, they're going to get it.
I totally agree with that. And that was, I think it was because we also did speech therapy, and and I don't know if you've had this struggle or not, Mary, but our biggest struggle was insurance would only pay for 24 visits with the speech therapist in a calendar year. And, I mean, for me, that was so frustrating, because it's like we would be right on the brink and then we would have to stop.
Right.
You know what I think, and I just feel like whenever you have a child in a situation like that, they should not limit their therapy.
Right.
I mean, a child like that needs never-ending therapy. So how can you say you get 24 sessions a year?
Right.
That's
I
crazy.
mean, it takes not only the parents, but it takes the therapist, it takes the teachers, and all of them working together to get that kid to reach their potential. And I can say I've been very blessed with Cameron, because he has outstanding teachers here in Newton County.
Zaylee.
Okay, go get her.
Oh, I'm sorry. And my baby monitor's on, and I hear Zaylee, I think. And what's really funny is I just looked at the computer, and I'm like, we have just about talked through our break, but it's okay. Mary, we truly do appreciate you calling in and all the advice that you're sending out to the parents and everybody, because this is what this show is about, because there's somebody out there that's going through what you have already been through. And hopefully there's somebody out there and saying, you know what? I went through that too. I know what she's saying. I understand completely. And so we appreciate you calling in. That's for sure.
Definitely.
No
Thank
problem.
you,
And
Mary.
we do have a support group for children with autism in Rockdale County. It's Rockdale Autism Support Group. And we meet once a month at the Baptist Church on 138.
Yes.
So that's Rockdale County Support Group. And I say that because I'm writing this down, because what I'm going to try to do, especially whenever we're on break, is I'm going to pull up anytime, if there's any information anybody that's listening may have that might help other parents like yourself, please let's share it. We're going to share it on the Ladies Talk page, and everybody let's share it. And if you want to go post something on the page yourself, and rather than call in, we're okay with that.
Yes, we're totally okay with that.
Awesome.
Let's
Because
share
the
as
more
much
we know, the
information.
more we grow.
Yes.
Right. And you can Google that, and it will pull up our Facebook page and our support group information. We even have respite once a month for parents.
That is really good. Okay, and say the name of that again one more time.
Rockdale Autism Support Group.
Thank you, Mary. Yes, this is the group, y'all, that I was telling you all about earlier. They were my light at the end of the tunnel. Just everything that these women did for me, and just helping me navigate through the seas. So I know we have to go to commercial break, Crystal.
Well, that right there was some really good information. Mary, thank you so much. I can't thank you enough for calling in. Keep listening, okay? And feel free to call back if you have anything else that you want to add to the show. And everybody stay tuned. We will be right back. You're listening to Ladies Talk on Just for Fun Radio. That scared me so
That
much.
scared me too.
I mean, I was just like, oh my God, I don't even know.
So do we go get her, or do we leave her?
I'm trying to see what she's going to do. See, when Zaylee's sleeping, sometimes she'll do that and move around and whine. But most of the time, she just goes right back to sleep. And then sometimes she'll do that.
Mhm.
And she'll be like, get me up. It just scared the heck out of me when I first heard it.
I know, I'm looking at you like, okay, we would not be good candidates for the.
Look, where's the gun?
I don't even know.
I know there's a big gun down there. I was like, hold on. Don't come in here
It's usually over there in the corner behind the. Wait, we down here and we ain't got nothing. Oh, the thing. Let's remember. All right, Crystal.
All right, Chris. That scared me.
Oh, we've never been like this. Why are we so jumpy tonight?
I don't know, but that scared me.
It all started with the doggone patio door.
You scared me with it.
And you were like, oh, it's just Bella laying in front of the chair. She wasn't nowhere near the door.
Yeah, but she couldn't move though. Beautiful girl. Suicidal.
See, when Scotty's here, it's not scary like this.
Well, duh. We got Scotty here. Scotty, can you please hurry and get home? Just ask him where he's at. Ask him.
You gonna ask him?
But come home. We are scared.
Okay, so Tammy says that she can't see us.
Oh.
Did YouTube freeze? No, it didn't freeze.
Why can't you see us?
Daily.
Okay, come on. You'll know whenever she wants me to get her. She's crazy. But whenever she moves around, she makes all these noises like that. And at night, she does it like all night. So, like, it just starts stuff. They don't ever say nothing. But,
see, and I would be the one, I would just get her and, you know, because my kids did that, and I just got them and I put them in the bed with us, and it drove my ex-husband crazy.
I won't do that. I refuse to do that. You know, I mean, I'm just like, I don't want no kid in the bed with me. Now, if she starts getting like to where, and I've never put her in the bedroom. Whenever she was real tiny, when I first brought her home, she had her own little bed made over there.
Oh,
like because our bed's so big, I made her this little bitty bed over there. But most of the time, me and her end up in the living room because I would at least want one of us to get some sleep. I would be like, let's just let one of us get some sleep. I'd pull that the footstool that Scotty uses. I'd pull it right there next to me on the couch. I'd have her all cuddled up right there. And I'd sleep on the couch and she'd stay right there. And then it got where I had her playpen in there, and I'd just take her in there and put her in her playpen and let her sleep. I've never slept with her.
Really?
Mm-mm.
See, I used to do that because I nursed. I nursed Allison until she was almost 3. And I know some people are like, that's way too old to nurse.
It is. I can't say anything. I've never nursed, so.
And then, well, I nursed Niles for 12 months, but then Niles drove his tricycle down a flight of steps and knocked his 2 front teeth out. And so he didn't want to nurse. And so that just kind of got that.
Well, I knew this girl one time that nursed until her son was 5 years old, come up getting on her. I was like, no, that is weird. That is like, and she was like, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm like, there is something wrong with it. He's 5.
Yeah, 5. Yeah, people used to look at me that strange when Allison would come up and she would like lift up my shirt and unhook my bra and just start nursing. They were like, okay, no.
I tried that once. I tried it like 3 different times, and I was like, no, it just was. I hate it, but it just wasn't natural for me, and I had to go back to work. So I was like, Oh, what a night. Literally, what a night.
All right.
How funny. Let me tell you. Well, our conversation right now has consist of feeding our kids.
I know. Feeding our kids, co-sleeping.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, what time is Scotty coming home? 'Cause
Yeah, I
we are
text Scotty and
scared.
told him to come home. We're scared. We have no reason to be scared, but
We have never been this jumpy.
I don't know what it is.
I don't
Yeah,
know
but it's
what it is.
just me and you.
Yeah, I think. That,
Oh, hush. We're telling the world that. Now
Thanks,
there's going to be one of our
Crystal.
awful friends are going to try to. Oops. Sorry. My hand did that. It was nothing out of the ordinary.
Well, usually we have Zach here with us. So when Zach is here, I'm like, okay, we're good.
Yes, and I miss Zach. I'm not too sure about this rock star lifestyle he's living because I miss having him here, but
I miss
I'm
him
happy.
too.
He's gone for 2 weeks too. So
But he's living his dream.
yeah, you got to be happy about that. So whenever you hear special needs, I know we've talked a lot about autism because autism seems to be a lot more than I ever knew. It's around a lot more than I ever knew that it was.
Yeah, I want to say it's like it's either 1 in 3 or 1 in 4.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and Mary mentioned respite care, and I want to talk about that for a little while because I didn't even know that existed until probably Allison was on her 4th hospital stay, and we were going to Chris Kids in Atlanta. And if you're not familiar with Chris Kids, they are an amazing, amazing counseling organization for youth with mental illnesses and drug dependencies. And a lot of people, when they think of Chris Kids, they just think of the work that they do with the homeless children. But it's not just with the homeless children. It's with children who have any type of illnesses. Well, not illnesses, but mental illness or drug dependency. And they actually have a clubhouse called The Spot. And, I remember walking in there and the counselor that was working up there at that time was Erica Neal. And I walked in and I said, can you please just keep her for an hour? I said, I just need her to stop inhaling my exhale. Because,
Right.
I mean, it felt like every time I was breathing out, she was literally sucking the air right out of me. And I know that sounds horrible to say as a mother. And I wasn't a bad mother. I was just overwhelmed. I was so tired.
I had healthy children. I mean, normal children, or however you want to word it. And I was like that. I could not have imagined. I mean, if I felt like if I had one more thing on my plate, I didn't think I was going to make it. And mine were just teenagers who drove me nuts.
Yes.
My son was a handful. And it's kind of funny because it all turned around as they got older. My son, I mean, all my kids were a little bit of a handful, but my son just is the exact opposite now. But growing up, oh my gosh, I didn't think I was ever, I mean, from pre-K until he finished school, Chris was every day, every time the phone would ring, I was like, oh my gosh, what has he done now? What is he getting into? I mean, it was just always something with that kid. Always. And I was just, I mean, he was very, he didn't want to follow the rules, but he was extremely smart. It was simple rules he didn't want to follow.
Right, because they didn't make sense to him.
They didn't make sense to him. He's like, it's stupid. He's like, why do I want to sit here and read about something that I don't need to know? Oh my gosh, I wish all this stuff would stop. Now here's Amber. Oh, please.
And every time something happens, we're jumping.
We're both all jumpy and stuff. This has got to quit. But anyway.
Oh my gosh.
It's just kind of funny. I mean, I don't get it why we're all edgy and stuff.
I don't know either. I really don't.
Me neither.
Other than, there's no Scotty here.
Scotty, come on.
Scotty, come on, please.
Scotty's doing fight night tonight. But my kid was in special education, but it was due to his attention disorder and his hyperness. But I'll never forget, he was in like 6th grade and teachers can make the world of difference in these kids' lives. That's for sure. There was a teacher that came. We have another caller, so I'm going to go ahead and interrupt my lame story and see what this awesome caller has to say. Thank you for calling Ladies Talk, Just Fun Radio. You're alive. Hello.
Hey.
Scotty, you just interrupted our caller, but are you on your way home?
No, and what are you scared of?
I don't know.
We don't know. We're just jumpy.
Everything.
We're just scared of everything. We're scared of our own shadow.
Something is going on in this house. You need to come home.
Not like what?
We don't know how to explain it.
Grandma?
No.
Well, then what are you talking about?
Something's just weird.
Because we're
Hello, we're live on the radio, right?
Yes.
Could somebody talk like we're live on the radio? What are you afraid of?
Okay, we've heard a noise at the door. I don't know. It's just everything. We're just like really jumpy for some reason.
There is a loaded, sawed-off 12-gauge. Hands reach next to you. I don't think you have anything to worry about.
Well, I'm fixing to text you about that situation.
What?
It's not there. You shouldn't tell everybody on air, but it's not there.
Oh, I think I moved it for other reasons.
Yeah,
Never
I
mind.
know, right? So text me where it's at so I can go get it.
And then we'll feel better.
And then
Well,
we'll
y'all
feel
get
better.
back to doing a damn good show and quit being scaredy cats.
We're not scaredy cats. We were okay. Hang up on him. I'm done with him. I'll
All right,
go get
love
me
you,
another
bye.
man.
We had another caller. Hello, Ladies Talk. You're live. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, sorry that DJ Scotty called and interrupted your call, but you are now live on Ladies Talk. I hope you heard all that.
I did.
Okay, sorry about that.
It's fine. I work with Crystal, so I told her I'd call in.
Oh, hi Michelle. How are you? We're not even ourselves tonight. I don't even know how to explain it, but anyway. Yes, Michelle had spoke to me back whenever we first talked about doing a show like this. And Michelle, you want to share a little bit of the story that you shared with me? Do you mind?
Ma'am?
The story that you shared with me, it was about your friend's daughter. Is that correct?
No.
No. What was it about?
I guess it's a different Michelle.
Oh. No.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, hello, Michelle.
Hi.
How are you?
No, I'm good. I have a son with special needs, but my brother he's got special needs.
Oh, okay. Yes, I know that too. But we had talked about having a friend of yours come in here at one time.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's right.
So I guess that's what I was thinking about. But yes, I do. Of course, I recall your brother and your son. But what is your brother's situation? Do you mind sharing that? Because your brother is now an adult age, correct?
Yes, he's 41.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Wow. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm asking you if you don't mind to share some of that, because I'm feeling like there's a lot of people out there listening that have kids that are very young or teenagers and this and that. And I know some of these mothers wonder, what happens later on, And I know you have your parents, and it takes a lot as an entire family to care for your brother. Is that right? I don't know if you're hearing me or not.
It's breaking up.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, but I mean, it's just interesting to get a point of view from someone who has an adult with special needs.
Can you hear us, Michelle?
I can.
Okay. Basically, Crystal was asking you to share your a little bit about your brother's story, from from growing up with your brother, and maybe from your parents' perspective, from what you were able to see. And then even a little bit about your story, because the whole reason we wanted to do tonight was so that parents who are special needs caregivers don't feel like they are so isolated, and that there's nobody out there like them, because there's a whole bunch of us out there.
Right. He was born normal. And then he had the DPT shot in 74. 1,800 kids in Henry and Clinton County got the shot. And he started having seizures. And that's how they found out.
Wow. Wow.
See, that would be tough too. I mean, because naturally you've prepared yourself to just have a normal kid,
Mhm.
and then something like that, and then you got to go through your life like, what if?
Right.
All the what ifs. What if I would not have done this? But yeah,
Right.
that's just, that right there's got to be really, really tough. And I know. Do you mind sharing a little bit about your son's situation?
My son has articulation disorder where he hears things where it's underwater, and we found out when he started pre-K. And we started with Bright Start. That's a program that they have out there for elementary, well, not just elementary school kids. It's also for children in preschool and stuff like that. But it's through your county, and you can get all the funds that you need. And they work with the kids. He was in speech therapy until he was 10. And they let him in the program and stuff like that, and they worked with him, and now he's in special needs in middle school. So it's really rough.
Now, Michelle, I have to ask, do you think that it was harder with having the special needs in middle school or elementary?
Elementary school.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that
Because they don't want the teachers, the specialists, they didn't want to listen to you. You knew something was wrong, and you just had to fight.
Yes. And I can totally relate to that, and just in trying to get an IEP, which is an individual education plan.
And that's what he's in now, yes.
Yeah, because I had one for Niles. And I mean, it took me I started fighting for his IEP when he was in kindergarten. I finally got his IEP at the end of second grade. So it was a journey. Michelle,
it took us till second grade for IEP.
So what advice would you, if you could just say one thing to another parent or another family out there who is just like, they feel like they can't go another day, another minute, another second, what would you say to them?
I would just let them know to keep pushing on, because your child is the most important thing. And that you need to be there for them, and you need to teach and push them. And like Mary said earlier, it's just a learning, when you get home, you just keep going and going and going.
Now,
it's never ending.
Do you use any of these support systems in any of the surrounding counties? I call it the 5-county area, the Walton, Rockdale, Newton.
I'm actually in Henry County, and we don't have a lot offered out here.
Really?
Right. So we go independent.
Okay. And that's what I'm hearing. So that I think that's been the recurring theme of tonight, is that, once you get past a certain point, I really say Moreland Avenue on I-20, you enter a resource wasteland. And, I don't mean that in a bad way, but
it's right.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just like there are no resources here. And it's like we've got this patchwork quilt that we as families have woven together, and we just kind of support and hold each other. But then when you go into Atlanta, you see all of these incredible resources, and you're like, well, why don't we have that in my area?
Right.
So, well, Michelle, thank you so much for calling in and for sharing your story tonight.
Yes, Michelle, thank you. I tried to get her to come in here with us one night, but she's shy.
You should have come tonight. At least you could have been scared with us.
Yeah, I want to.
Oh, it's been fun.
Yeah, Crystal's going to go on my top list of people not to fight zombies with.
I'll be right back. That's my thing. Hey, I'll be right back. She's like, no, you're not leaving me.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
All right, have a great night.
Thank you, Michelle.
You too. All right, bye-bye.
Yes, Michelle's been pretty awesome. She's one of these people that's really easy to talk to anyway. So she's given me a lot of insight to her situation from time to time. And it kind of inspired this show as well, because she's one of those people who are like, y'all need to do a show about this. So I'm glad she called in.
Well, and I just got a text. I actually got. I'm really behind on text, y'all. Karen from Gravity sent a message, and she said, "Great job tonight, ladies."
Thank you, Karen.
Karen rocks.
She does.
I love
She really
Karen.
does.
And then my friend, who is this? Okay, so you remember that my phone crashed, and I don't have any numbers. I don't have any names with some of the numbers, but she wants me to talk about. She wants me to go back to respite care. Basically, what respite care is it's the easiest way to explain it is it's a break for the parents. And respite care can either be in the form of a day, it can be in the form of a couple of hours, it can be in the form of a week, and here's the thing, if you can find some organizations, some of the organizations cover respite care, some of them don't. I was always too worried about my daughter to ever leave her in respite care. So that was why for almost 5 or 6 years, I was just like part of the Walking Dead. But respite care, when you think about providing, it's hard enough providing for someone else. But when you think about the added double whammy of if that person's dealing with a mental illness or anything like that, you definitely need respite care. Even if there are two people, two adults in the family, you need respite care because at some point one person's working and the other person is at home with the child, and the person at home with the child gets burned out, and the person coming home from work tries to help as much as possible, but there's only so much that you can do after working an 8-hour day and then coming home.
So I was kind of looking up respite care because I'm not familiar with it. And so what you're saying basically is it's kind of like a helping hand to you.
Yes,
Okay.
definitely. Exactly like a helping hand.
I'm not very familiar with it, but of course I looked it up and I've got a list of providers here in Georgia. So I'm going to share the link on our page. Maybe somebody can use that as a little bit of a resource because
Yes.
I could not imagine. Now, I know some moms who have done this single-handedly by themselves, and I know you even spoke of how you've done a lot of it by yourself. Even whenever you were in a relationship or whenever you were married, up until recently.
Yes.
You went through this not with one, but with 2 children.
With
by
2
yourself.
children by my, remember my ex-husband was a police officer, and when you're a police wife, there are just certain things about your life that you understand. Number one, you understand that that his first love will always be the department, that you will be the second wife. You understand that when that phone rings in the middle of the night, that, regardless of what you've gone through that day or what help you may need, he's going to get up and walk out that door, and you're going to be left to try to figure out the rest of the night or the rest of the morning. And
with 2 kids needing the attention
Yes.
that your children needed.
yes.
I
worked full, and I finished 2 PhDs in the midst of all of that.
Wow.
And I often joke, people ask me all the time, why did you get 5 masters and 2 PhDs? And I tell them, I said, it was either that or figure out a way to bury bodies in the backyard.
So was that your escape? That's what you did for you.
That was what education was the only thing I could control. I couldn't control anything else in my life.
Wow.
It was like my life was just self-imploding around me every day because, and I even I had a secret blog at the time, and it was called the Momvocate, the MOMVODCATE, Momvocate. And I used to go on that blog and I would write about just everything that I felt. And I remember one blog I said, how did I write it? Oxygen mask. And I said, they always tell you to put your oxygen mask on first before you put it on your child. But what do you do when your child is fighting you so hard that they knock your oxygen mask off and you can't breathe anymore?
Right. Because you're so consumed and
Yeah.
caring for them and making sure that everything they have and need is taken care of, that you're basically losing air.
Yeah. So you're tired.
We have another caller, so I'll take this call. Hello, you've reached Ladies Talk and you're live.
Hi, I'm 15 years old. My mom called earlier, and I want to give a sister's perspective of what it's like to have a special needs sibling.
Oh, that's awesome.
How awesome. Well, let's hear it. Thank you for
Thank
calling.
you for calling. So tell us a little bit. So you're 15, and what has it been like for you as are you the older sibling or the younger sibling?
No, I'm younger. My brother's 16.
Okay. So what has it been like for you? Because, I'm not going to put words in your mouth. So tell us your story.
Sometimes it's really hard, and it can be embarrassing at some times. Then there's sometimes when you can't help but love him, when people are mean to him, and you just want to like punch them in their face.
Yes.
I love that. I mean, that's about as honest as you're going to get right there.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely want to punch people
But
in
it's
the face
called
sometimes.
unconditional love, right? Because I mean, you love your brother no matter what, even if it may seem like it's embarrassing for you sometimes.
So
yes, it is.
How do you, because I know it has to be really, really stressful for you sometimes too. What are some things that you do to just kind of relax a little bit and get away when it becomes really stressful?
I just go to my room and then I think about it, that I can't get upset, that I just have to stay relaxed, because then if I get upset, then he'll get upset too. And it'll just make it worse.
Yeah, it does.
I think a lot of adults could take notes from you.
Well, I think you are a phenomenal sister, because everybody always talks about, the bond between a brother and a sister, but, nobody talks about the bond when, one of the siblings has a special need, because, and I hear this from my own kids, and my son just recently started saying this to me. He said that he always felt that I spent more time with my daughter, and my daughter said that she felt that I forgot her and spent more time with him. And, so I think that as siblings, it's really, siblings have a very unique place in a special needs family. So I applaud you. I am so proud of you.
Thank you.
Thank you for calling.
Thank you. I mean, the fact that you called is really, really, I mean, I'm just really impressed. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And keep loving your brother and keep doing what you're doing, because, I mean, you're doing it right.
Yes, you were definitely doing it right. High five.
Thank you.
Thank you, sweetheart. You have a good evening, okay?
Okay, you too.
I don't mean to show any favoritism, but that's my favorite call of the night right there.
I know. That's all, it's one thing to hear adults say it, but when we've got the teenagers, number one, listening to us, and number two, calling in.
Amen. I mean, I'm sitting here going, that just blows my mind. I was almost lost for words. I was lost for words because, I mean, it kind of gave me chills. I mean, I haven't thought about that perspective. Not at all. Not until she called. I mean, how does that feel? But now we know how that feels.
Yeah, I remember when my daughter was having, my best friend, Michelle Alexander Dalvest, when Allison was having one of her psychotic breaks, Michelle used to text me every morning and she's like, how are you? She, everybody else was texting me, how is Allie? How is Allie? And she was like one of the only ones that said, how are you? What do you need? And I sent her a text back and I said, we're hiding in the bathroom. She's throwing things in the house. And I think Niles was probably like 5 or 6. So Niles grew up in all of that chaos. And, and sometimes I wonder is that why he is so withdrawn and so shy and so quiet? And, and I wonder, was there anything that I could have done differently to protect him from that? But then I'm like, how do you protect one child from the other child when you're the only parent providing care for both of them?
Wow. That's a lot. I mean, what is the answer to that? I feel like you have to be like, the fact that you're sitting here talking about it shows amazing strength. The fact that your daughter is now grown and you've made it. I want to say you've made it.
Yeah.
And so is Niles. And you've got such an amazing story to tell and share with so many people who are out there. And if they're feeling like they've got this one kid that's just such a handful and what am I going to do? I mean, they've got to be listening to your story going, wow. Now, granted, I mean, everybody's different. Everybody's going to handle things a lot differently, but you've done a phenomenal job, from what I can tell. I don't know that I would have been able to keep, I mean, you hold your own, you smile, you've got degrees. How you did all of that with that, I have no idea. But I mean, a lot of people can't manage to focus on a degree without all those obstacles. So
it was, it was honestly my saving grace. My saving grace for dealing with Allie and all of her, her issues. Once we got to Rockdale County, was when I started the podcasting network. And, it's almost like I've always been a champion. You hear that too, don't you?
I'm listening to, I hear background music.
I know, I hear background. It's almost like an AM radio.
Yeah, but I hear it's a TV or something.
It's like a TV. But there are no TVs on, Crystal.
Maybe it's upstairs. Maybe the TV, maybe Scotty had it paused and it came back on. But
okay, let's go to commercial.
You know what? We're going to take a commercial break. We're going to be right back because it's that time anyway.
Yeah, we need to pay some bills.
Hang tight. We're going to go try to figure out did the TV come on upstairs or what the heck's going on. Everybody hang tight. You're listening to Ladies Talk on Just for Fun Radio, and we will be right back. What is that? It sounds like the TV or something.
It sounded like a TV.
Right there in that chair. Let's see if we can hear it. I don't know, but I heard that though. I mean, because I'm sitting here thinking, was I doing the same thing I did last time? Because remember when I had that
When you have
playing on
the-
here?
yeah, no,
but I
that was-
don't.
It sounded like a TV that just came on suddenly.
Oh my gosh. If y'all are watching YouTube, don't tell anybody this. Probably should already been home by now.
He's purposely like not coming until so that we can be like. That's what he's doing. Oh, I want to go to the pumpkin patch.
I know they're fixing to have one up here. Is that Nikki's little girl?
This is my friend Patrice.
Oh, okay. That looked like Shelby. Stop already.
I'm not talking to you, Crystal. We have never been like this. Look, we need to go get us some sage, and we need to sage the microphone, and we need some crystals and some incense.
It's just me and you on camera, though. Look, it's just us. My white shirt.
And you know what I would really laugh about is if we pulled down the camera and it was like it was. Remember when I did that Periscope?
No, I wouldn't laugh about that right now.
Okay.
That shit wouldn't be fun. Oh my god.
Crystal, like, that wouldn't be funny at
That
all.
would not be funny at all. Hell, fire. That messed us all up.
See, you're so brave.
I'm not brave. Why am I brave?
Because I won't even if I won't even come in at night. I'm like, I'm good.
I ain't normally like this. Oh my gosh.
See, even Angie, who was watching us on YouTube, she says, I was watching a radio station on YouTube and jumped when that Amber Alert came through. What was that about? Our jumpiness is contagious.
It's not just us, then. Something in the universe.
Ooh, and Jen and the Holograms the movie is coming out in a couple of weeks.
Oh my gosh.
Well, you know, it is kind of 8:30-ish.
It is 8:30ish. We could call it a night. Not unless someone would like to call in and save us, because I don't even know what's going on here. I'm wondering if any of our listeners heard that, because I'm telling you, I heard it sounded like a really loud TV or something
That came on. Yeah. Okay, so if anyone that was listening heard that TV come on so that we know that we are not like losing our minds tonight, please text us.
Yeah, you can lie to us if you want to. Say you heard it. I know. All I know
Because
is
both of us can't be sitting here and two people with two different headsets on hear the exact same thing.
I heard it.
I heard it too.
I know I heard it.
That was why I looked at you.
We're both like looking at each other, and we go upstairs, and
there's no TV
there's
on.
no TV or nothing on in this house. I mean, yeah.
I'm going to be sitting on the sofa when Scotty comes home. I'm not leaving.
You're not leaving me here by
I'm
myself.
not leaving you here by yourself. I'm not going outside by myself.
Oh, I know.
Look, I
right?
have watched horror movies. I know what happens.
Look, both of us went creep.
And we got.
I noticed you got behind me though.
Yeah, because I told you I watch horror movies.
And I was trying to be the brave one. And you know, the people that are watching, don't go up there. Don't go up there. You tell me, turn around, run. Oh my gosh. Now I'm going to hear those voices in my head. People telling me not to do it, not to do it. So both of us, Scotty's going to come in and we're just going to be like down here just froze together. Like,
and then he's going to be like,
doing?
And you know, Scotty is so loving with his gentle, kind words to us.
I can only imagine exactly how those words would go. Oh, we can't cuss on here, so
I know we'll just be sitting here. Like, you know, the show was over 3 hours ago. Why y'all still sitting here? The
voices in my head told me not to go up those stairs. I do know that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
This was a really good show.
It has been a good show. I mean, it's done what I was hoping it would do. It's been very enlightening and you know, just strengthening, but this jumpiness has got, I don't understand it.
Well, I mean, I don't know why we were so jumpy tonight. I really think
Stop looking over there. You're going to like
Well, I really think because we've never been here by ourselves.
Yeah.
You know,
I think that's what it is.
And you know, and I'm already on edge when I'm in the studio at night. And you and Scotty are like, if you and Scotty are both upstairs, I'm okay with being in the studio at night.
Yeah.
But it's just something about being in the studio at night.
Well, I just don't, you know, I live here and I don't even like to come down and do laundry by myself at night.
Okay, well, let's just say goodnight to everybody and let's go upstairs.
But you know what though? I mean, there's nothing bad here.
There's nothing bad. It's just kind of jumpy. It's just a little bit. Not saying it's bad. It's just a little jumpy. Just a little jumpy.
Frogs jump.
Yeah, let's just say goodnight.
Good night.
Yeah, let's just say goodnight. We'll see y'all next Thursday.
Is there anything? Hold on before we go. One more thing. Scotty has St. Jude's.
Oh, that's right.
The children's charity on the square in Covington this weekend. And after tonight's show, that's a great time for everybody to come out and say hi and be a part of the annual Bike Fest in Covington. So.
We are vindicated. Shirley says, I heard a noise, but she heard the baby monitor too. So she heard what we heard.
Okay. And see, the baby monitor, now that right there was that was the baby monitor, of
Right.
course.
That was the baby monitor, but Shirley heard
she
the noise
did hear
too.
the noise, so it wasn't just us. And sometimes what happened, because we're internet and we're doing all this, technology, sometimes things will bleed in to the other line. So I'm absolutely positive that it's nothing bad. It's got to be something like that. We're just really jumpy.
Yes.
I just don't get it. And speaking of Shirley, I mean, thank you, Shirley, for listening. I know that she's been a friend of Scotty's for a while, and I've met her basically through Facebook. And about a year ago, I bought a pair of pants for her to use for a Halloween costume. But anyway, from her, not for her. I bought them from her. But she has a son who I truly enjoy seeing her. She shares all of his pictures. And I don't know exactly how old he is, but he's got to be at least 15, 16, 17, something like that. And she is an amazing person. I mean, she really is. Just watching her and her post and everything she goes through with her son is pretty cool. Wow. And she has there's a man in her life who's really, really good with her son, and you can see that makes her smile because he's making her son smile. She'll post pictures of him smiling and everything, and he's doing normal things with him like a father would do with a son. So those moments that I see her share with the world on Facebook really, really make me smile for her, because they got to make her feel good.
And I think at the end of the day, Crystal, that's honestly what it's all about. Just finding that little piece of normal.
Bella just come down those stairs. I'm just going to tell you right now, that scared me. And Bella is a black dog, and you can't even see her coming down the stairs. All you can do is just hear these footsteps coming down the stairs. I think I'm fixing to have a meltdown. This isn't even funny anymore. She just licked my toes.
Crystal. Oh my God.
Bella. Oh my God. She come right over here and lick my toes.
Bella said, look, let me help this woman out.
My heart just is like, oh, Scotty, you can't leave us anymore. Our ladies talk. We just can't be here by ourselves. Like,
we have to have a third person.
We have to have a third person.
So
I feel like we've done really good, but
yeah, we're gonna call it a night.
St. Jude's Children's Charity at the Square on Covington Saturday.
That's
all
right.
day Saturday. You want to make sure you go by there. There's always a lot of great vendors, a lot of fun bike games. There's live bands, and someone's calling us. So let's see.
Oh, let's see who's calling us.
Just for Fun Radio, you're on Ladies Talk Live. Help.
Hey, Crystal,
What?
do you and Doc need a bottle of wine?
I don't know. I'm telling you, we are just like, this is ridiculous. This is crazy.
Yeah, let me tell you what. I can send you guys down there some of that West Virginia moonshine.
We might, if this ever happens like this again to where we're by ourselves, I'm just going to have to take you up on that, because this is craziness. I don't even know how to explain it. We have been jumping with every noise,
Well, if it happens again, you just hold up a piece of paper that says shine, and I'll FedEx that stuff right down.
You're so awesome. Thank you. I'm glad you got to tune in.
Finally, I couldn't watch on YouTube for something's going on with the iPad, and you're just buffering, so I just had to go back to the app and just listen. I can't watch you.
Oh, well, at least you're getting to listen. We appreciate you. You're one of the best, that's for sure. But yeah, Shine would have been it would have helped. It could have made it worse.
You guys are making me nervous.
Are you? We had someone else who said that as well. So it's kind of funny. We're not doing that on purpose, I promise. It's just,
no, we're not.
I don't know what it is. It's just Bella came down the stairs just now, and that right there was the end of it for me. I'm just going to tell you, I'm done. Stick a fork in me. I am done. And then she comes creeping around the table and licks my toes. I don't even know how to feel about this right now. Oh, Lord. But I hope everybody sleeps tight tonight.
Yeah, right. After that, yeah, I'm gonna go have me some shine, and then I'll think about you ladies down there being all jumpy and everything.
No, right? Well, thank you so much for thinking about us. We appreciate you, and thanks for listening.
Not a problem. No, have a good one.
All right, sweetheart. You too.
And Shirley said that she'd been trying to call in, but she hadn't been able to get through. And
That's
Denise,
creepy.
Denise said thanks for keeping her laughing tonight. Denise, we're so glad that we could be your entertainment. We're so glad that our fear entertained you.
Yeah, Denise, appreciate that.
You know,
I mean, it's funny, but it's really not that funny. And I was looking because I was like, is Bella going back up those stairs? But she's not. What is that dog doing?
Bella is laying right here, Crystal. Bella's not moving.
Oh my gosh. Somebody save me. I'm telling you, I swear I just thought I seen Bella going back up those stairs.
Okay, you know what? It's time to go. It's time to go.
I'm not kidding.
It's time to
See
go.
the shadow like how it is on the one side of the stairs? That's all,
right,
it
y'all,
is. I'm just not.
We love
That's
y'all.
my eyes. I'm getting old.
We love y'all. We'll see y'all next week. Y'all have a good week. Y'all
We are out of here.
Go see Scotty on the 11th. Tune into the morning show in the morning. Do what? Y'all have.
All
Come
that
on,
good
let's go.
stuff. All right, we're
Let's
out.
go.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
I can't believe that. We need to do like Thriller.
You're gonna go sit up here on the sofa and wait for Scotty.
This is crazy. I swear I just thought I seen Bella going up there. This is crazy. Hey, soul sister. Oh my gosh.
I'm liking the color purple. Remember that thing where the guy was packing up his stuff?
That has, I mean, it's really been weird. I don't even know how to explain it.
Come on, let's go.
Oh, I guess I better stop the broadcast. Bye.
They're gonna be like, dang,